I don't know if Ben's come. Have you come like with a massive ass list of questions and points, or what were you hoping?
Discussion points.
Yeah. What do you want? I mean, I'll give a very quick overview, and then you can go through what you need to go through. But basically, where we're up to is, so Ben, as you know, Ben's a cost manager, quantity surveyor, chartered, worked for years and years, got quite high up. He's been offered this really well-paid position in Saudi Arabia, where they offered to pay like 120 tax-free to go and work in the desert, which Ben was really excited about and up for until I came along. But the thing is, though, and I said this to Ben, the reason I was like so attracted to Ben was because we've talked about Ben in the past, and we've said, oh, Ben could be quite cool. We've talked about Josh and some other people, but I kind of thought, like, in the most respectful way possible, I thought that Ben was a bit of a 9-to-5er, you know. But then when I realised Ben's leaving his family to go to the desert, I thought, fuck, like. That's quite a big.
It's quite a big commitment.
That's quite a big commitment. And then I thought, well, if he's prepared to do that, with I know he's got the skills. If he's got the skills and the preparation, he could be really valuable to us. So we got talking, and I basically offered Ben, after speaking with you and speaking to Ben, what we offered was £1,000, which is by the way, like that's what we pay ourselves, and that's what we pay like the guys. It's like that's a standard director kind of where. Tax-free, which is I think that's what I said to you, which is totally tax-free, because that's all in a dividend, plus a profit share, which we split, which with our training business, we take 10% of the profits and then we split it amongst the directors and staff, but most of it goes to the directors. And then with the property business, we were going to do it as the same thing, 10% of the profit. So if we say, right, we've got 250 grand a month to play with, and then we put that, and if we double our money, I'm not saying we do that, but all that profit, 10% of the profit, we split amongst the staff and the directors of the business, of which to begin with, there'll just be 3. So that's the basic agreement. That's the basic agreement. And then in regards to what we'll be doing is just investing 250 grand a month with our help and input. So it won't be like, you know, here you go, fuck off, don't ever call us. Yeah. It will be like, we'll be doing it together, but you'll be the director of it, the head guy. So that's kind of the gist. So I think what we wanted to talk about was just how would it look practically.
Same time, obviously we're going to have to talk to our tax advisor, because one of the complications with it's going to be, and I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work, but a lot of the money we make from the training company, we want to put into this company, which is going to be doing that work. Yeah. How feasibly how moving that money across works, I don't know.
From a tax point of view, we just want to move it across, but we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, we will, but the problem is you've got different directors and stuff, so the companies aren't, I don't know. I think you will be able to.
Yeah, you need to be able, it's the detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, so where
have I summarised that right there?
Yeah, you have, yeah. So there's this offer that I've got. It's a really good offer. And they've been chasing like mad. They want an answer tomorrow, etc. But I had a chat with Samuel. The proposal gave me a headache because, to be honest, it sounds great. They rang me again yesterday, the day before. I had a really good long chat with them yesterday. They've perked it up a little bit. Potentially, yeah, they have, yeah. So, but either way, what I said to Samuel is it would be good for us to sit down and then just see, I guess, how it would work, whether it works for both of us, I guess. And at the same time, obviously, with it being, I'll say, probably a one-time opportunity for me to be able to go there on such a massive package, potentially for the next 10 years, it has to make sense for me as well, and my family as well. So just as it does for you guys, because it's a business at the end of the day. So
otherwise, we wouldn't want to take someone that was feeling resentful.
No,
you've got to, like Alistair, he's like blown away by the deal that we gave him, but then we don't think, maybe we could have given him less. We're like, brilliant. We want that, especially directors and partners, and we want people to feel blown away.
Before I make any decision with those guys,
you don't want to say,
let's explore this, properly,
and
then see, and then at least I can have, a good night on it. You can have a good night on it as well, and then we can.
Because obviously you're in more of a rush than we are. We want to get moving. Don't get me wrong, definitely. But at the same time, I know there's a real deadline with your guys pushing.
Which is unfortunate, yeah. I'd sort of been bullet pointing and just brain dumping stuff, just for a few discussion points. So it was basically to look at what type of business strategy you guys are going for. So playing on the experience and contacts that I have. Obviously, you guys have got probably way more contacts than I do, particularly in terms of getting more funding. Because the type of projects that I'll be looking at, the likelihood is, fair enough, we're getting 250k potentially injected into the business, but depending on the size of the deal, that might only fund it up to so far. So for example, if you look at, let's say, 70-bed hotel, for example, there's loads of different buildings around. Operators are plenty. That's one thing I definitely know from my experience in working in the construction sector. And the buildings are there, but it's getting the funding to do the business, of which I think with the cash injection that you have, potentially where it always starts and gets a bit difficult is with buying the property, or at least putting in an offer subject to planning, for example. Going through the planning process, paying the design consultants, paying them to come up with a design, doing all your due diligence checks, etc. You have to pay for all of that up front. So once you get to sort of a point where you've got planning approved, getting funding for that project, similar to housing, it's easier. Of which I think with your gravitas and your profile, you'll be able to get funding for bigger deals, having utilised the 250k that you've injected up to that point. So then I guess the decision that you guys will have to make, or I guess we'll have to make.
Well, it was about 250k a month, wasn't
it? Yeah. So are we keeping it and then putting an operator on it, of which...
Are we keeping what, sorry?
The property.
The property, for example, with the hotel example. Are we keeping it, leasing it to an operator? They maintain it. It's your building, or the business building, I guess, and you're getting a return on that. Or are you basically flipping it like you do with houses? Are you selling it on for a good chunk of profit?
Well, I guess.
So it depends on what your long-term and medium-term strategies, but it can change and vary from the types of projects and deals that you'll have managed to get.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on that would be, I think we want to build something. We want to build a portfolio, a large commercial portfolio.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that we do want to be buying stuff to hold, to keep. A mixture. If it makes sense to sell it, then great, we can sell it and make some profit. But we don't just want to be. Also, when you're buying and selling, that's all you do. It's hard to make that passive because it's a lot of work, constant.
Yeah.
So and another thing is as well, we're open to what makes money. So if we're on something really good, where we're buying and selling, and we're making a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
We all want to make money because we're all got getting a profit share. So we're not going to like dragging our heels in, but we want to build something, don't we? Like a large wealth base.
It might be that we do a mixture of the two, depending on the deal.
Or we've got a percentage into high risk stuff, and then a percentage into medium, and then a percentage into low risk. So, but in regards to funding as well, we're quite well connected. Our problem is that we haven't got time to follow up those connections. So we've got, and if you've got connections, awesome, but we wouldn't be expecting you to, we wouldn't be you coming in and right, you go and find everything, you would be utilising our data as well.
Yeah.
And we could be putting stuff out on YouTube and stuff, couldn't we? Like, hey, we're looking for blah, 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 blah. Or hey, if you've got deals you want to pitch to us. Or hey, and then those people that come in, you'd then be able to go through them, take them out for lunch.
With this role, the way that I was envisaging it was, it wouldn't be us technically delivering the services or the project.
Yeah,
so
it
wouldn't be a project management or QS position, for example.
No.
And the benefit that brings is, fair enough, you have to pay out for external consultants, but you can lean on their professional indemnity insurances. Because if you're building a massive commercial asset for keeping and something goes wrong, where are you gonna go for that?
Yeah.
So if you've done this, if you've PM'd it and it's gone wrong, if you've QS'd it and the numbers have been wrong, or
you're a bit screwed.
Yeah. So you want to be able to de-risk.
We would want to outsource all that.
Yeah.
But outsource it to really good people that have got all the right insurances, and then you would be finding, liaising, overseeing but not actually doing. We would be wanting you to work more on the business than in it, I think.
Yeah, but because you know how to do it, it's for us. It's a bit because we're not quantity surveyors. It's very hard for us to know if they're doing a good job or not.
It'd be a bit like if I
There's
said
a lot of
to you,
beans we count.
Yeah, it'd be like if I said to you, you know, go and run a residential with a HMO manager or this and that, and you don't know how much the bills are supposed to cost and how much this is. We're the same when it comes to
I feel it.
like you're really good at cost planning. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And when it comes to finding the opportunities, even like that's something that I feel that we could probably bring people in on a bit, and then you'd be able to then assess. Well, how much is this good? Because basically, if there's depending on whether if you're buying it to keep it, then it's just straightforward. What am I putting in? What am I getting out? If you're doing it up to sell it, or you're doing it up to refinance it, if you use development, it's okay. So what am I buying it for? What the cost going to be, and then what's the end value going to be?
Yeah.
But working, that's easy for me to say. The hard bit is working those figures out.
Which I understand. Yeah. And that's the good thing because sort of front end, I can do all that. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's delivering the job that takes the time and probably carries the most risk because then if it goes wrong on site, who's liable?
It's like, for instance, you know the castle.
Yeah.
Like what we would want is a PM doing everything, but then someone just keeping an eye on the PM.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Ultimately being responsible for the project to be profitable, but not. But then if the PM says, oh, it's going to cost this much, but it's actually 3 times the price, and we can have him for it.
Definitely.
Then we will.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to pay the pros. So the points that I've written down in terms of, I reckon potential sectors that you could get into commercial and property wise, student accommodation, there's a lot of that going around, to be honest, in Leeds it's going up. I'm not sure where the students are coming from. I'm not sure where the students are coming from, but there are a lot of student accommodation buildings going up. Not just in Leeds, but like.
And what would you do? Would you pass that almost as a rent to rent? So would you have it as a student?
Yeah. So
and then someone would then rent it from you, and then they would do the management.
Yeah. So for all these items, you find operators. So for example, in the country at the moment, there's an operator called Fresh Student Accommodation, and what they have a bespoke template for a type of building and basically a type of building that they want, and if you can provide them with a building that suits that specification, they'll sign a lease. If you build it, they'll sign a lease for it for 20 years.
20 years?
20 years. Or you can go to university and say, listen, right, we're building this, I don't know, 100 bed, 470, whatever it is, with all these rooms, seeing as though we're building it close to university or whatever, would you like to sign up for preferential rates? But again, it might, in terms of like in comparison to, I don't know, private residential, the return might not be as crazy high.
No, it won't.
But it's a predictable, long term.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
Because if we had 200 student accommodation units, it would be a nightmare. But if we did it like that,
it's an operator, so they're signing up. You don't
20 years guaranteed rent, but and you got one tenant, and you know who that tenant's going to be before you even buy the house. So it's like, we'll buy this or we'll build this with this tenant in mind, who's going to be 20 years, zero headache, on with the next project. I like that.
And the only headache that's there from experience is the front end, doing the deal, managing the vendors, because potentially you might identify a site where maybe there's a pub, for example, and you think, actually, you know what, that would be really good. It's 15 minutes walk from the university or whatever. Can we buy it? But then once they know what you want to do, because you've gone through the planning, it's all public, they'll think, hang on a minute, I'm selling it to this guy, he's going to make an absolute killing. So how can I get... So 99% of the battle is probably that. But then once you sort of got over the purchase, and I guess you guys know how to manage those type of expectations, I'm sure you deal with that anyway.
Yeah.
It's a relatively straightforward delivery of a job, basically. So that's sort of one avenue. The next avenue
I really like that one.
is the warehouses. I mentioned this to Samuel. I've done in Leeds the largest online retailer. I'm not going to say the name because it's not out in the public domain yet. In Leeds, 350,000 square feet worth of warehouse shed, 50 million quid project. They're moving in next year in April. You can probably guess who it is. And they've got a spec. They want to roll out so many units in the UK. I think they've got 4 on at the moment. Massive, one's 1 million square feet. And the developer, who I'll keep quietly.
Please do.
The developer, they're just basically building a spec shed for them, and they've signed up to 30-year lease.
Buildings though?
No, they don't.
Do they not?
No, they don't need to. We'll just lease them, and then if they decide.
So
because if they're online presence, the online.
So what you're saying is we could build a building potentially.
It could be anyone. It could be Debenhams. It
What?
could be ASOS. It could be.
If it's set up for.
It's just a warehouse.
It's just a warehouse.
Work for anyone.
And the thing is, you build an asset. They've got their own plan to put in, I guess, for want of a better description, tracks and whatever, where sortations type stuff. They put it in, and all you tell them is, at the end of your lease, take it out, or we'll charge you, and it's all agreed up front in the agreement for lease. So
and how long are those leases usually?
30 years, you just said for Amazon.
30 years. Yeah. But the thing is, it's a lot of pain. There's a lot of cost up front to get those sorts of deals done.
Of course.
But once you get the deal done.
So when you do this at the moment, do you oversee all this? So you oversee the finding of the deal, you oversee finding the tenant.
I don't oversee the finding of the deal.
Okay.
But because of the people that I work with, like architects, etc., I can find out who. So another good example is maybe bring it down to a smaller scale. Aldi, they're easy. You go on Aldi's website, they tell you what the criteria for them buying a unit from you is, or leasing a unit from you is, the amount of people that it needs to capture. So I think for Aldi, it's 300,000 people it needs to be able to attract.
In an
area. They'll tell you the size of this shed or the unit, the orientation of it. So all you then have to do is find the land to build. I say like that is easy. I know the process, but I've never had to. I've never bought land, whereas you guys have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know what though? The risk for me would not be finding the opportunities. It will be working out the cost development of it.
It's a manageable risk. Yeah, it's a manageable risk.
Whereas finding the opportunity, we will get the opportunities because we're well connected. Ben's well connected. Between us,
between us, I don't necessarily think that
we can take over the world.
I don't think we'd fail in doing it.
No.
But there's risk. The thing is, this is the thing. Construction-wise, no matter how well you plan, something's going to go wrong, all the time. But it's how you deal together to make the.
What we do when we're looking at deals.
That's where the beef.
What we do when we're looking at deals is we're like exit strategies. Yeah. So that if our worst case, so we have best case, likely case, worst case. Best case, make loads of money, get 20% return on investment, capital appreciation, awesome. That's best case. However, likely cases, there's going to be a few issues. Yeah. Things are going to take longer. Things are going to cost more. There's going to be a few issues. Worst cases, the tenant that was going to sign the 30-year lease pulls out. It all goes terribly wrong. As long as the worst case doesn't cripple us, because
it's a lot of money. That's the thing. It's no longer like 10,000 quid here. We're talking like millions, a few hundreds.
What do you think of the Castle project, for example, that we're doing at the moment? So it's taking like a big building, turning it into apartments, or what sort of Taylor Wimpey do, where they buy land, build housing estates. What do you think of that?
I think it's okay, but to make a profit on any piece of land, a decent profit, you need to be building no less than 6 houses. If you're buying a piece of land and you're building like 1 or 2, and you're not sort of living in them and then selling them small scale, you're not going to make.
No, I agree. I agree. We've just done because we wanted to start small. We've done one with 6 houses. Yeah. But we looked at smaller ones and we were like, it just wasn't worth it. Was it?
It's not worth the pain. It's a lot of pain.
Put in 400 grand and potentially make 65 grand.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth the pain. There's a lot of pain involved with that.
No, it's not worth it.
house building is risky, but at the same time, it's got one of the biggest commitments. For example, in Yorkshire now, Leeds City Council have committed to building 2,000 new homes. How are they going to do it? No idea, because there's a lot of greenfield sites that they're not really releasing. But the opportunity is there for house builders to do it. It's such a slick operation. So what the reason why the big boys make it work is because of the economies of scale, basically. They've got loads of houses. They build 200 houses on a unit, and they're capable of doing it.
Yeah.
But it's an absolute headache.
Yeah.
From my experience with house builders, I've dealt with I've done fund monitoring, which has really opened my eyes. Basically.
Done what?
Fund monitoring for the bank.
Yeah.
So effectively, I'll go in. They've lent money to a developer, say like what we want to do now, and they say, right, can you just make sure that the contract's being adhered to, all the health and safety stuff is in line, it's being built in such a way that if the asset goes camp, we're going to get paid. All those sort of due diligence checks for the bank. So I've seen some good ones and I've seen some really bad ones.
Yeah.
The most profitable ones that I've seen have been the people doing the high end.
Do you think that we should do any of that, or do you think that we should just go, you know what, forget it?
At the moment with Brexit, I know people have been, saying you can overcome it, but people are slowing down buying stuff. Yeah. And the reason why they're stopping with the high end stuff is because people who've got millions of monies in the bank who can buy a 750k property, they prefer to keep their money or invest in other ways where they're not going to lose it. Frankly, they don't need to move. They're probably living in a good house anyway.
My prediction on Brexit, that the housing market is going to definitely, no matter what happens, just because of people's perception,
dip a little
it's
bit.
going to dip. I think it will probably then shoot up.
Yeah,
but if you're building stuff now, I mean, I know we've got houses in Lincoln, and I think we'll be okay.
You don't want to sit on it for 2 years, waiting for the market to recover.
That's it. Yeah, you don't want to sit on them. That's exactly it.
No, because you can't afford to.
You put money in, you wait for the money to come back.
Yeah.
So what I found,
which is why when we did the Lincoln one, we can afford to rent them out and sit on it.
Yeah, and also Lincoln, I think houses have bottomed out so much in Lincoln. I mean, it's not like Birmingham or London even. Or London's another beast. But okay, cool.
House building, to answer your question, I think it's fine.
Right now, not the time.
To make it profitable, it needs to be high end. But I don't think right now is the right time. I suspect that actually, although Brexit is getting bad press, it'll be good for developers / investors, because people who will be building now will probably run into some form of financial trouble, and they won't be able to complete their projects, of which you can buy cheap.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity. Do you think that we should just be doing warehouses, student
not
pets?
just that. I've got two more.
Oh right, I'm loving it.
Yeah, there's retail in the sense.
Does retail
retail scares me.
Not the retail, fashion retail, food and leisure retail.
Okay.
So for example, Costa Coffee.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, they're building drive-throughs.
Yeah, they are.
Like you've seen it.
They've just done one in Starbucks, new Starbucks right where we live now, literally.
You've got to look at where the timers are going.
Yeah, I've delivered 5. They're relatively inexpensive to build. You could probably build one for like 350k, 400k.
They put them up in weeks, don't they?
16 weeks, it's done.
Yeah.
And then just rent it out to Costa Coffee or Starbucks.
You'd love Costa. 5 to 10 years deal.
I'd love to run a Starbucks.
Yeah, he's always he'd be walking in there going, I'm the owner, man. There you go, the owner, man. Yeah, okay, love that.
Starbucks, Costa Coffee, Krispy Kreme, all these little drive-throughs, easy.
Yeah.
The next one, petrol filling stations.
Yeah.
There's loads of them happening at the moment.
How will we be affected though when we go electric?
You'll have top.
15 years, 20 years. Well,
you'll have electric. Well, people just have to top up your electric though, won't you?
This is what actually, funny enough, we're actually delivering some electronic filling stations at my current.
That could be more. That could be good.
And literally, it's the same model, but what they're doing instead is rather than having, say, bays of 4 filling stations, they've got enough land to expand to have up to 16. So on the outside, they'll have like lorries, turn off lorries, turning circles, etc., get in and out. And then towards the centre, they've got the smaller bays for the smaller cars. And then they have a 2-story block with offices, working space, breakout space, because people come and charge their cars, they might sit there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or an hour or whatever. But at least they can continue to, if they're professionals, they can work, etc. So in terms of the future, that's definitely where it's going.
Yeah, we want to go. We want to go really big, don't we?
Yeah. So we can go. So I guess those are sort of like my thoughts, because I was trying to brainstorm how it would work and stuff.
It's let's say we're putting together a team to do this.
Yeah.
So we've got you.
Yeah.
Who else would we need?
I think when you start ironing out, it depends on the deal that you're going for. If say we're starting out and looking at Costa Coffee, let's use that as an easy one. I guess my role would be to try and find basically get in touch with Costa Coffee. Where are you looking to roll out your units? Let's find that, and potentially maybe working with your sourcing guys. Where can we find either the land or a building?
So we need sourcing guys.
Yeah. Which you guys have potentially got.
Well, we could talk to the other guy that we were talking with, Josh.
Yeah.
He is like the other end. So he is a bit like you, paid a similar amount. He's a chartered, but what he does is he finds opportunities. So he's almost like the other side. We could look potentially at working with him either on a commission basis or bringing him on. Or if not, do you think that with my branding and being able to put stuff out there and your skills, do you reckon we could just find opportunities? Or is that really hard?
I think you could, but having worked with, there's another company called HB Villages. There's loads of companies. HB Villages, and they specialize in like care homes and stuff. And what they do is they just put a land hunter on a commission. Find us a site that suits what we want to do. We'll pay you $6,000 a site or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily taking them on.
Yeah.
But he's doing the legwork.
And then you just pay a commission.
Up and down the country looking for the sites or whatever. Because it can be anywhere, to be fair.
Yeah. Because I can't imagine us driving around looking for land.
No, you don't want to.
I might view it and video it.
It might become expensive in your Land Rover.
Yeah, we need people to be able to find us opportunities. For sure. Yeah. Do you know, have you heard of Cushman and Wakefield?
Yeah, I know them.
Would they be able to help?
They'll be able to help massively, because Cushman and Wakefield, they brought one of the student accommodation buildings I'm doing in Leeds now. It's due to finish August next year. They helped the developer find the operator. They had the land, they were advertising.
So we need to get in with Cushman and Wakefield probably.
Yeah. And they were marketing the site as well.
What would be the best way to build a relationship with a company like that?
I think I've got a couple of people I know.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be good.
So Cushman and Wakefield, agents like Edison's.
So we're not going to have an issue. We don't need someone full time necessarily. We could just pay people
not necessarily
commissions to find the opportunities.
Yeah.
All right.
Makes sense.
Anybody else?
Anyone else?
You were talking about NFT.
Financial NFT. It depends on how many you're churning out as well. In a year. If you're doing a lot of deals.
Well, it depends on what kind of deals we're doing.
If you're targeting big ones, then you can just pay someone for each job.
Yeah.
Because what I mentioned, Samuel, is fair enough you'll be injecting 250k, but that doesn't mean we're going to spend 250k in a month. No. So
could save it for a few months and then spend $1 million.
Yeah, it could be that. Listen, we spend, because sites go to tender as well. It's funny, So the site gets advertised on Cushman and Wakefield website. You then have to do some. To make sure that it works, you have to undertake an options appraisal, which I guess is a bit costing. Get a quasi design to make sure that it stacks up, like exactly like what you do with the residential stuff, to make sure that it all stacks up, cost per bed or cost per unit, cost per square foot or whatever. And then you bid on the basis of that information. All that while time is ticking, so you're still banking 250 grand. You may get to, I don't know, say April, having started in January, to a point where you've got a final bid to put in. You pay your bidding fee, perhaps maybe it's $1,000 or whatever it is. All the while, still banking in. It may take another 3-4 weeks, and then you get the site, say in October. Right, okay, now we need to look at planning. that's going to take 12 weeks. You've got 3 months there. And then you're going to look at your design stage, which might take another, say, 12 weeks. So it may go on for like a year, like nothing's in the ground, but actually you're banking all your 250Ks. You're paying your consultants probably from half the year.
Having someone full-time is not...
they're just there.
I don't think we need to.
So I would say...
start employing full-time people. I think we just...
Play it by ear.
Well, we're looking at potentially hiring an FD anyway, aren't we?
Oh, an FD. I'm not talking about an FD. An FD we do. We need an FD, but I'm talking about, I don't think we need to pay full-time deal sourcers.
Or deal sources, yeah. But in terms of FD, are you getting one anyway for it?
Yeah, we're going to get one, yeah.
We're considering it. So what we could do is we could get just someone that just oversees.
Yeah.
Or both sides, yeah.
We're also, as well, in regards to lending and stuff, I'm pretty well connected to a lot of lenders. Commercial, like... We've got really good, and we've been having meetings with Coots Bank.
Yeah, no Coots. We did the job for him.
Did you? Did it not go well?
Yeah, it went well. Yeah, it was actually a private house build.
Yeah. Well, we're looking to do all of our banking with Coots.
Yeah, Coots are good.
We're also potentially looking at setting up our own peer-to-peer lending, aren't we, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which then when we could do crowdfunding type lending.
Yeah. There's a.
Do you know anything about that?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's my thing. I mentioned I went first an interview 2 weeks ago with them. Yeah, that's another story. But anyway, what they do is pretty much that as well. And the reason why they were looking to recruit is because they don't have enough knowledge amongst themselves to be able to see what's a good deal, what's a bad deal, and also someone to keep an eye on what's going on construction-wise, contract-wise, legally, or whatever. And they lend to people who can't get credit from mainstream banks. Experienced builders, but for one reason or another, they just can't get credit. So what they do then is they either enter in as a JV partner and get a slice of the pie that way. So they give them the money, they write the checks, the borrower gets a good cut as well, obviously, but normally they're contractors / builders. So it's a direct deal, pretty much a JV. And it seems to be working well. They've had 2 nightmare jobs, but you will always, out of every 10 jobs, you're going to have 2 or 3 nightmare jobs. But so they've had 2 nightmare jobs of late, which made them think, actually, we need someone who can talk the lingo a little bit, and beat the stick, if you like. But, so it can happen.
I was talking to someone recently about the peer-to-peer, and they said that it's quite right now for the FCA, and it's quite easy to get a license to do that.
Okay.
But it's about to change. It's about to become really hard.
But is it a case of whether will the current peer-to-peer lenders have to comply with all the new changes?
You've got one, you're good.
Oh right, so maybe we need to do that then.
Yeah.
When you say about to change.
In the next year.
So we should probably set up a bit, because it would also be really good for financing deals, us financing other people's deals. It just makes sense because we're so well positioned to do something like that.
Especially with peer-to-peer is where you're really well positioned as well. Because
Yeah.
you've got a lot of.
What do you mean?
We don't need.
You don't need that many people.
Well, it goes
get to the case where you might need someone to help you with admin side of stuff that takes you away from bookkeeping and all that kind of thing. And to be honest, I've got no knowledge of that sort of thing because I haven't, done it.
Yeah. But we're pretty good.
I'll be relying heavily on you guys.
What we're good at is we're good at running businesses.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I've got that to learn. So.
So when it comes to hiring and getting assistants, and we're good at running businesses, we're good at making money, we're good at marketing. We're good at delivery. It's just, I think this is it's technical.
Especially
with this, it's relationship building. What made my life easy to get to where I am now is just building the relationships with people. Saying, can we go out for a coffee and everything like that. And what I found is, as long as you get along, the likely you get their business.
That's what I am terrible at, because I have so little patience. I just. Going for coffee with people in the hope that we'll be able to get a relation and small talk, and I'm so bad at it. Sometimes I'm too direct.
I think you just have to target. It's just targeting who it is.
For my own good.
Yeah,
Do you think you're worse than me? We're both pretty terrible at it.
I think we're both terrible. Yeah, but what you'd be good at, meeting someone, like meeting people. Maybe if you need to get something passed, you know, like your MP, and you want to get some things changed, and you want to meet, and you know, you just kind of, you know,
we have to
meet
have soft skills. It's the soft skills.
Yeah, it is soft skills. I have no soft skills.
You have to have some soft skills. So it's the same thing. If you, for example, like with the whole planning thing, I was talking about getting planning. If you want to keep your costs down, you tell your architect, listen, talk to him nicely. Build a relationship and say to them, right, listen, we want to bid for this job. If we win it, it's yours. And we'll pay you a little bit more than average in terms of a fee. But up front for the next like 2 months, do you think you can just get 1 or 2 architects to work it up? And if you don't have a relationship with them, they'll just be like, forget you, you know.
Yeah.
But if you do, it's like, oh, okay, fine, I know you can.
Yeah.
That's just how you sort of keep your money in. And then when the deal's done, you know you're getting paid by whoever it's going to be, whether it's the purchaser or the operator, whatever it is.
What do you find about doing this attractive?
I've been looking to I guess you guys won't take this the right way because you're tennis thinkers here. Maximize your income, right? That's the first thing. And that's the reason why I was looking at the Saudi opportunity. Because I've gone to uni, I've done the job, I've lost the hair in my head. And to be quite frank, I want to get rich. Yeah, because long-term wise, that's what it's about.
Ain't nothing wrong with wanting to get rich.
I say work a little bit less. The likelihood I'll probably keep working anyway, but have the option to if I don't want to. Like in my 50s, I think, and in late 40s kind of thing.
You probably still will want to.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Then you want to get richer.
Work, but I want to have the option of not doing it.
Yeah,
if I don't
work from abundance.
Yeah,
not for
exactly,
a job.
Yeah. So for now, I'm working. I'll probably keep working just as hard, whichever way, whatever I'm doing, wherever I am, whether I'm here in Africa or Middle East or wherever I am. I'll continue working hard, but I just want to get paid commensurately for it.
Yeah. So you like the idea of being on like a partnership.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So.
And then making more than enough money than you need so that you can then invest and build wealth and build passive income.
Yeah, because that was the driver. Yeah.
See, would you be interested in investing? I told you about our residential portfolio that we've got.
Yeah.
Would you be interested in investing your profits into that?
I definitely want to reinvest it because I don't want to blow it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
would you invest with us?
Most likely, yeah. Well, I know you guys and your business, so yeah.
Yeah.
There's no need.
I mean, no pressure. But I'm just wondering if you'd be open to that because we're setting up a residential fund. I think I told you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna let our people invest into it.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Because I want to encourage our directors like Alistair, yourself, Sarah, and everybody. I want to encourage them to be investors to get passive income. But at the same time, if people are like, if you went and started buying HMOs and stuff like that, what's going to happen is it's going to be a headache for you.
You want to be obsessed and
you want it to be passive
within what you're doing.
You want to invest into things that are completely passive. Because if you start doing rent to rent,
you need to be going and sorting out.
And what will happen is, and what will happen with all of our guys, even with us, I don't go out and manage and run rent to rents and stuff like that. I have full-time people that manage it. Yeah. So unless you've got to do it on such a scale where you can hire full-time people, it might make sense for you to just invest in our deals.
Now thinking of this fund, we want to invest our own money.
We're investing our own. It's our.
That's the thing.
It's what we buy.
Yeah.
Basically, all how it will work is it'll work like we buy all these houses, and then we allow our partners to buy shares, and then they get a passive income, and then we just split it completely equally. If they buy 1% of the company, then they get 1% of the profit. So they're getting the same as what we're going to be investing our own money into it.
Game, to be fair.
Yeah. And then what happens is it means that our people haven't got to be like, oh, I've got all this money, I don't know what to do with it. And then they go and buy a duff house, and then it causes them problems. And then they're having to have days off work, and they're stressed over. And it's just like, forget that, man. Just invest it into this. This is what we're doing.
Yeah. This will make you money.
Yeah. But that's cool because you'll be making more money than you know what to do with.
Yeah.
And you definitely with this, like you'll become a millionaire doing this. There's no doubt. Over time. There's no doubt, because the 10% that we'll be splitting, it's only going to get bigger and bigger. It can't not. It's compound interest. It's the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah. So for me, the one that attracted me was that I wasn't expecting to speak to Samuel, to be honest. So you know, when we started talking, and I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I need to think about this pretty seriously, because like I say, the offer that I had is mad.
Oh, it's an incredibly good offer that you've got.
And so I thought, listen, if I come and sit down with you guys,
would you like to move, Saturday?
Yeah.
No, he'd come back each evening.
Not each evening, but like, is it like little stints, like months?
No, you go there and that's it. But I spoke to them yesterday, like I said, they rang me. This is the thing, this is the funny thing, because
I know.
When they rang me yesterday, I was on the phone with them for a good hour. And I said to them, listen, I'm still evaluating. There's a lot of paperwork that they've sent me through. And I expressed my reservations, which were mainly around not having my family over there. And they were like, listen, what we'll do is you come get settled for 6 months to a year, and then we'll assist you with your family to come. And we'll put you up at the standy other and to add more money, which is great, obviously. So the lump pack is really...
The only problem is you've got to live in Saudi Arabia.
Do you know what?
See, for me...
It's actually okay.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it?
It's extremely safe.
Quite.
Funny, you know.
We're not talking about safety, we're talking about living in Saudi Arabia.
So, are there any issues or anything that anybody sees of...
No, I guess like logistics now. I mean, I'm ready to move to Saudi Arabia, so I've got no problem with where I'm working at.
Yeah.
I guess you guys are obviously based down here, so I'm envisioning like if it works out, I'll be down here like in the office as well, and working with you guys. So
I mean, we haven't, to be honest, we haven't got any, like with this business, with our commercial property business at the moment, like we haven't got any staff or anything, so we can kind of figure it out and...
see what we're doing.
I mean,
how much do you expect to be office based?
Not much.
I think you'll be out on the road a lot.
I'll probably be out quite. I was going to say, I think I'll be out quite.
It also depends on.
To begin with, I can't see it right. We need to be
But then, all I guess what we could say is, if it becomes an issue, if it's like, oh, you're in London all the time, being prepared to move is a good thing, you know. But then to start with, we could just catch up. We could just have meetings, couldn't we? Like you could come down even once a week or every other week, and we could get together. That would work, wouldn't it? Do you think it'd be better us buying stuff in London or outside of London?
I think you can do it anywhere.
I think you can.
I think you can do it
I
anywhere.
don't think it matters.
You can do it. You can buy stuff in Scotland.
Okay, that
You know, no, I'm just saying. You can.
I know what you mean.
You know.
Yeah, because it's completely, it's 100% passive. It's nice owning it in London because it's the capital.
It's nice to be in London because we're in London, but I don't think it matters. I'd rather get a good deal.
Yeah, but my preference is London.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it could be the case that listen, when we start looking, you should be focused. You focus in the area. You can't just like look everywhere at the same time. But
Would you like to move to like Bournemouth or somewhere like that?
But we've been brainstorming a lot within like weighing up, what we're doing, etc. And we looked at Hemel Hampstead, thinking, perhaps maybe just outside of London.
Hampstead's
just outside
nice.
of M25, so.
Hemel Hampstead. Okay. Yeah, nice.
It's pretty close to us, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it's probably like an hour away.
Okay.
I don't know where it is at all.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, cost of living, etc. My new shack, basically, is just like.
Yeah.
As you go,
Yeah. Okay. Have you got anything else on the list?
Not at the moment, apart from my headaches. It's got even bigger.
Well, why have you got a headache?
Because I really want to work with you guys. Like, I actually genuinely think this would work.
I know.
It will work.
Yeah.
£72,000 tax-free basic, 10% profit share split, which we split.
And you get to live in London, which is the best city in the world.